It's lovely to see you, and we are talking all things equestrian today. I think horse riding and racing and so on are some of our clients' favourite days out that they enjoy. So we wanted to let you know all of the different options. So let me just share my screen with you. And we can press on. So, um, in terms of privileged access, we certainly can do that here, whether it's Royal Ascot or Polo, Polo at Guards. If you want to be coached, or you would like your clients to be coached by the chap who has coached Prince Harry and Prince William, then we're your people. We can make that happen. So all sorts of fabulous ways of getting up close and personal with these wonderful experiences. And the lovely thing is about horse riding and so on is that it can take, maybe just a half day. Yeah, they can kickstart a day with one of these experiences. So they fit really nicely into an itinerary, which will come on and show you. And as you know, we do love our Winston Churchill. So there's a great opportunity to quote a bit of Churchill, and he certainly was a huge fan of getting on horseback and blowing the cobwebs out, I think. So polo is a really lovely way to introduce your clients into one of the highlights of the English season that we have every summer. And the history of polo is just wonderful. I mean, it is the sport of kings. I think our royal family for a good, well, probably about 180 years have been very actively involved in polo. And amazingly, the first European polo club was actually formed in India, bizarrely, when it was formed by obviously some of the officers who were based over there, and it became increasingly popular across the country when it started being played over here. We had lots of competition, I think, starting in the early 20th century against the US, and there was huge amounts of honour at stake as to who won. I think it was the Winchester Cup that was the one that they mainly fought for. So it's certainly the associations of polo are very much with the royals and aristocracy, but equally there are some lovely little sort of local polo clubs that put on a great show on a Sunday afternoon, which is rather lovely to go and sit and have a picnic, which is fabulous. But it is something that is associated very much with the royals. And Guards Polo Club, which is situated in Windsor, it was actually our fabulous Queen Elizabeth who spotted the perfect site for a polo club, because there were so many flat areas of fields and so on. And she suggested that as the site, and then Guards Polo Club was formed. And the Duke of Edinburgh, her darling husband, has been the president of Guards Polo ever since. So a lot of royal history, and obviously it's just around the corner from Windsor Castle. So the wonderful thing about Guards is that you can suggest to your clients that they have a polo lesson there. And it's a whole lot easier, amazingly, to learn to play polo than one would think. And we've had couples and families who've had a fabulous time. They've sat on the wooden horse to learn the stick management, and then had a bit of fun on the polo ponies, and then have actually had a little bit of a competitive chukker at the end, which is lots of fun. And you can do that at Guards, or there's a polo club close by, which we can do out of season. So whether it's a family or a group, it's lots of fun. And then as we'll come on and show you, they can watch the pros at work. But it's an incredibly exciting game to watch because it's a very, very fast moving sport, and incredibly skillful. So they certainly know what they're doing. So as we said, if you would like to, if you've got clients who are really interested, it's a fabulous opportunity to have a lesson in the morning, and then they can go over to Guards to the Polo Club, have a rather fabulous lunch. Obviously, the best seats in the house, as we always like to do, and enjoy an afternoon watching the pros at work. And it's quite extraordinary. There are three main tournaments that take place over the summer. And the semi-finals and finals days, they really do put on a fantastic show. So if you've got some clients who really want to sample one of the highlights of the British season, but also something that's very, very sort of traditional, then a day at the polo is a rather lovely thing to do. But as I said, equally, there are some local polo clubs and some clients who were over last summer were staying down at Chewton Glen down in the New Forest. And there's a lovely local polo club down there. And we arranged for a beautiful picnic and their driver and so on. And they went off and just had an afternoon watching the polo, which was just lovely. So a day, I mean, as you know by now, the structure of the days we will organise to suit your clients' plans and schedules. But this is an idea of the timings. A good hour, an hour and a half learning, and then we get them out and get a little bit of competition going and play a chukker or two, which is great fun. And the clients love it. They feedback how exciting it is. And horse riding is possibly one of the most simple experiences we do, but certainly one of our clients' favourites. They have the choice of a fabulous horse ride through Windsor Great Park. There's no road riding at all through the bridle ways and all in the shadow of the stunning castle. Alternatively, based from a more rural equestrian centre, they can go out through the Chiltern woodlands. And if they're over in the Cotswolds, we have some fabulous stables that are based right in the heart of the Cotswolds countryside. And whether your clients have never been on horseback before or whether they are extremely experienced riders, there is something for everybody. And we only work obviously with stables who really look after them incredibly well. So and hats and all the gear are provided if need be. So just a lovely thing to do, and very easy from London. Just out to Windsor is about 45 minutes. So they could easily pop out for the morning, have a sort of 2 hour horse ride, maybe a lovely lunch in Windsor at one of the local pubs, something like that, if they fancy, and they could be back in London by 2:30. So it's something that can easily fit into any itinerary. And you know us, we do love any opportunity to share a bit of English countryside. And this was a client who was having a whale of a time, as you can see. So it was just glorious. And the sun was out and the skies were blue. So she had a wonderful time. Now, the other option when they're in Windsor is to follow their horse ride. I mean, we did talk about the carriage riding on our the session. We talked about Windsor, but it's rather fabulous to have a bit of a horse ride or a couple of hours horse riding through the park in the morning, and then they can meet Rebecca and their driver, climb aboard their majestic coach and be driven into Windsor on the coach, and then go off and have a lovely lunch or a tour around the castle or whatever it is that they would like to do. But these horses, these horses that drive the carriages are just beautiful. and you can see how very well groomed and looked after they are. So it's a lovely way of relaxing after a bit of horse riding. And again, here's an idea of how we can make it work. It's very quick and easy, and but a really special and very memorable thing to do in the English countryside, which is lovely. Now, for your clients who really do love, love their horses, but also like visiting some of the events, the some of the 3-day eventing is absolutely fabulous. The Badminton Horse Trials kick off the season. They're down at the Duke of Beaufort's estate in Gloucestershire, in the heart of the Cotswolds, and it's very close actually to where I grew up, and we had many fun years going to Badminton Horse Trials, and they include show jumping, which is the final event, dressage, and cross country. So it's a very different feel of event depending on the day that you go, and building up to the big winning day on the Sunday, and the show jumping. But the cross country courses that are built down there are amazing, and the same up at Burley and Blenheim as well a bit later in the year. So it's and then there's lots of shopping you can do, and lots of lovely food, and we can create a fabulous day for your clients. Sadly, no Royal Windsor Horse Show this year, which is always a real favourite of Her Majesty, apparently. So we've been told. She's there every year, so she's probably feeling quite sad that it's not happening this year. And the wonders of dressage. We're rather proud of our Olympic dressage team. We've had rather a lot of success. And if your clients do have some experience of dressage, then we can arrange a lesson with one of our Olympic medal winners, which is quite extraordinary. And they're just lovely. They're so proud of their art, and they're so passionate about their art, and they do love sharing it. So they can do that as an option. And then obviously the Olympia, the amazing horse show at Olympia in London, is a hop, skip and a jump from central London, and is a fabulous display. They have all sorts of performances there. So lots of lovely horsey things. Obviously, there's horse racing as well. Now, there's fabulous horse racing throughout the year at a whole number of different race courses across the country, from Newmarket to Ascot to Epsom and up to Doncaster, and all over the place. But these are the sort of real highlights, if you like. The incredible Cheltenham Festival, which is truly an experience that's almost hard and impossible to describe unless you go to it. But they do love all of their racing, and I think Cheltenham becomes half Irish. The Irish population seem to descend on Cheltenham every March, which is stunning. The Grand National is a fabulous annual event up in Aintree in Liverpool every year. Royal Ascot, sadly, there is talk actually that they might be running it behind closed doors, but we'll come on and talk a bit more about a day at Royal Ascot. If your clients are over in mid-June, then it's a sight to behold, particularly when Her Majesty arrives in the royal procession, and to take her place in the royal box. It's just wonderful. And then another highlight of the English season is the Epsom Derby, also in June. So it's there are lots of fabulous events. Windsor Racecourse does some fabulous evening race meets. So if they wanted to just spend an evening having some lovely food, and hopefully choosing a few winners, then that's a great venue, as is Newbury, and I mean there are some fabulous racecourses across the country. So wherever they are, we can create a really special day. The one thing we can't guarantee is to find them any winners. So we do disclaim any responsibility from that. But they'll have a stunning day regardless. And here, I just love this piece of film. It's a bird's eye view of the speed and the concentration and so on at the start of a race. It's just wonderful. Um, so we've shared quite a bit with you in terms of different events and so on, but it literally can be anything from a simple horse ride in Windsor or out in the countryside, which would be probably including a car, a few £100s per person, through to the absolute ultimate of a fabulous lunch in the Parade Ring restaurant and access all areas at Royal Ascot. You'll get as close to Her Majesty the Queen as is possible on one of those days. And the wonderful thing about Royal Ascot is they do offer multiple levels of access. So we can get your clients into the royal enclosure, so they will be dressed in their top hat and tails and all of the gear, all of which, by the way, we can hire for them. We've done that for a number of clients. We just need the measurements, and it will all be sitting waiting for them. Equally with ladies' hats, not the easiest thing to pack in a suitcase, so we've matched up a good few hats with outfits as well to hire for the day. So the dress code is certainly manageable. But there are a number of different ways you can do it, both in the royal enclosure and at one of the sort of slightly less formal enclosures, I guess, at Royal Ascot, or a day at Guards. These are all obviously ballpark figures, just to give you a feel for what a day on horseback might cost. So there's lots more video footage and information and so on the website and on YouTube. So please do have a look. But I'm happy to answer any questions if I have missed anything out.
And we have had a question about whether the horse racing events, either Royal Ascot or the other ones you mentioned, whether they're suitable for families with children.
Yes, very much so. There are probably about 50% of the enclosures accept children. I think the youngest, and I will double check this, but I think the youngest that children are allowed in is the age of 7. But there are areas, some of the restaurants, the five restaurant, for example, at the top floor of Ascot, certainly takes children, as do some of the enclosures. So yes, it's a really lovely day actually for the little ones, because you've got your clients will have the opportunity to wander around the race course, see the horses being brought through to the parade ring, see the winners and the runners after the races and so on. So it's lovely to really soak up the atmosphere. And as you might have seen on the pricing, we can arrange for a jockey or similar to act as guide at Royal Ascot, and it's a really lovely way to get a bit of an inside view on a view of it. And so yes, it's a lovely family day out, as is the polo. Children are very welcome at the polo too.
And I just think, linking to that slightly, is there a height limit for the riding or the polo?
Very good question. I think the youngest for the rural horse riding, children, very young children can go and spend time both on some of the smaller ponies, but also get involved with some of the bucking out and all of the fun activities that go on at stables. And yeah, we had a family. I think it was September time last year, who the parents went off and had a good couple of hours hacking through the countryside, while the children were very ably entertained, spending time with the horses and sort of mucking out and doing some of the jobs. So that's lots of fun. Um, they can go down. I think it's down to age 4 at that stable. So they are very young. We can't do that in Windsor Great Park. Lisa, can you remember? I think it's aged 8 or 9, I think, and above at Windsor. But we will confirm that when we send the information to you. Sorry, I should have had that. When we send the information to you, we will let you know. Is there anything else? I think we must have answered all of the questions, which is great news. So a huge thank you for joining us once again. We will send you all of the information as always, and we hope you will join us on Friday, because we're going to do a fabulous tour of Stratford upon Avon. We are rather huge fans of dear William Shakespeare, as you may be aware. So all of the wonderful things there, but Stratford in its own right is just a beautiful town to go to, and lots of wonderful history and all sorts. So we look forward to taking you on a little journey through Stratford on Friday. Thanks again so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you then. Bye bye.